Well, brace yourself. This is considered the worst. This is going to be retcon city, from what I understand. There's going to be a lot of reveals, a lot of here's what really was going on that makes no sense, but it's supposed to wrap everything up. And the unfortunate thing of all those is, last movie and the first movie, both of which had Alice a big part of it, but it wasn't all about her. We're going right back to being all about her. Also, all the people you saw at the end, Jill, Leon, the girl, and Ada, all killed off screen.
What?
If you go by the novelization, anyway. If you go by the movie itself, we don't know. But if you go by the novelization, they all got slaughtered.
That just seems like a waste.
Even the girl who felt like Newt, well, we gotta kill her off in the next movie like Newt. You'll get more frustrated. Now, they do bring Claire back, not Chris, but just Claire, making her the only character to be in 3 movies. They were going to bring Ada back, but the actress couldn't do it. The actress like Jill wanted to come back, they never called her. I don't know why. Probably because she beat up Mila, maybe, who knows? But, yeah, we're going to brace ourselves. I'm expecting this to be as bad as 2, if not worse. If it ends up being better, I will be wholly surprised, but I'm not banking on it. Well, see you guys on the other end.
Remember much before all this started. Sometimes I feel like this has been my whole life. Running. Killing. My name is Alice, and this is my story. The end of my story. 10 years ago in Raccoon City, there was an outbreak. It spread across the world within days.
One way or another, our world is coming to an end. The question is, will we end with it?
Umbrella developed an airborne antivirus. It would destroy the T-virus.
I have no reason to believe a word you say.
True, but I can offer you something you want very much.
What is that?
Revenge.
We can end all this. I have to get to the hive. We go together.
What are we gonna do?
We're gonna kill every last one of them. Grab some gear. This is what I do.
We played a long game, you and I, but now it's over.
Is that all you got? Because if it is, I'm gonna have to kill you.
Hey guys. Worse than we thought or just as bad as we thought?
I think that was about what I was expecting.
This was not a good ending.
No.
3 would have been a better cap-off.
Yeah, it really would have.
I mean, it was Retcon City. I have not seen such blatant ignoring of continuity. Let me put it this way. They completely ignored 2. Except for showing some action sequences, they completely ignored 2. Because why? Instead of having Alicia Ashford and James Ashford, instead they gave us, we would find out that Alice is actually Alicia Marcus, and her, now, I'll give them this, to be fair, at the time of 2, the one game, they did not have 0 out yet, where they had James Marcus, who was one of the founders. They had Ashford, who was in Code Veronica, in the Code Veronica games. That's still no excuse to just disregard it, and because they completely just transplanted everything from 2 and put it into here. You had to be Alicia Marcus was the basis for the Red Queen, and it was James Marcus who made the T virus to help Alicia. That's completely contradicting everything 2. I know 2 had issues, but don't. You know what I mean?
This is worse.
This is beyond worse. This is just. And now that it was dull. Longer than 3 was dull. 3 got dull, but it still picked up. But here's the biggest, most egregious thing of all. They had a great setup. You just saw 5 earlier. Wasn't that like an epic setup? You have Wesker and you have Alice and the others teaming up against the Red Queen who's controlling the monsters. Wasn't that a brilliant setup?
It was.
Tell them what we got instead.
What we ended up getting is apparently, well, it looks like the Umbrella Corporation had some kind of like...
Dr. Isaac.
Dr. Isaac was actually behind it. There's a whole lot
Everything.
of nonsense there, and apparently the Umbrella Corporation wanted to cause an apocalypse so that they'd be the only ones to survive, and couched it in a bunch of Christian symbolism BS, which honestly pissed me off.
Oh yeah, me too.
Off big time.
Now, to be fair, the worst of it was that one of the clones of Isaac's that we were told was the real deal. So that could be his skewingness of it. Because if you notice, the worst that happened was the real deal making the art comparison. And we didn't see him go off on a big, any more crazed tangents when he was awakened. So it could have been that clone, but yeah, it still bothered me that they went there. And just so much of it just felt so unnecessary. They brought Claire back, but they killed everyone else off. You know what I mean? Now, that's if you go by the novel. Otherwise, we get no explanation. But Alice doesn't even care. Doesn't even care whatsoever. You know what I mean? And you lost Becky. Was it Becky or Maggie? That was the girl. Becky. Her surrogate daughter. She was pretty much just like Newt in Alien 3, wasn't she? Nearly killed off and, don't care. But at least Ripley gave a damn. Alice didn't even bring it up at all. It's like, here's my theory. They realized, oh shit, that actor we had to play Dr. Isaac in 3 went on to be a big, huge hit in Game of Thrones. I don't know who he played in there, but still. Sorry. And he, so let's rework everything to bring him back to the forefront. You know, they had a great plot set up. They decided to rework it all. And then let's make it all about Alice again. I'm sorry. I hate it when it's all about Alice.
It's like...
At the expense of everyone else, I mean.
It's just like...
I mean, even the ending. Oh, yeah, she saved humanity. Oh, but she gets all of her memories.
What?
And Wesker was pumped.
Yeah.
He probably got the most pumped out of anyone, didn't he?
Yeah, it's like...
A door dropped on him. This is a guy who had a healing from an explosion or having his face damaged. Oh, but break his leg.
He was little more than a lackey in this movie.
He was. And I thought Isaacs was basically coming up like Wesker, right down to doing with his hair, which is what Wesker would do. It's like, let's decided, let's put everything onto him instead. It's like, I just don't get it. And it just dragged out. At least they didn't have the guy named Christian be the traitor.
Yeah, that would have been just like way too on the nose.
Right, but instead it was Claire's love interest, Doc, which was even more on the nose if you ask me. I mean, that was just like, oh, you're a traitor among you. And the Red Queen. Okay, overall, before we go into the retrospective, but overall for this movie, what did you think about the Red Queen this one compared to her and the others? You think this was probably return to form for her, or what? Or do you think it felt even more out of character than her being a homicidal maniac?
I did not understand what was going on with this at all. I struggled to pay attention.
But the thing is, it's acted good.
It's like, yeah, it's just like it's just a bunch of actors trying to save a really bad script.
That's just trying to wrap everything up and do it, again, all about Alice, not about humanity. Because you gotta think, we got a few more minutes before humanity's wiped out. how's that possible when they're leading the zombies to back to the hive instead? I would say this though, two other things salvaged besides the acting. One, both involving Issac. When he's talking with the Red Queen, Alice, and Alicia, he called up the Trinity of Bitches.
Okay, that one, it was pretty good.
Yep. And I gotta say, this also had the weakest, zinger of Wesker saying, kill me, no, save me. She's like, you don't need saving. And this is Alicia say this, you don't need saving, you're dying. Get on with it.
Get on with it. That's how he was feeling about the entire movie. It's just like, please be done already.
And then,
still going on.
And even when he takes out, or at least initially takes out Issac, Cheetah does it, he says, I created you. Yeah, that was a mistake. I'm like, again, that was a weak zinger.
It's just like, your zingers have been great. What happened?
I know, and then at least they acknowledge, okay, the virus is airborne, the antivirus is airborne. Why did it take so long for them to do that? I don't know. They've had this antivirus since the beginning. What took it so? If the regular virus could go from liquid to airborne like that, why would it take so long to make the antivirus airborne? Did that make any sense? And there was only more. There was just so much contrivance in this. So much. But I will say this though, it did have one of the most Carmaig deaths in concept. Maybe not in execution, but in concept. And what was that?
He was getting killed by one of his own clones.
Who thought he was the real deal. And he thought like, you're a clone. It was like, that was perfect. After everything, that was perfect. But overall, this was just one of the weakest ways to end a franchise. Just felt like they just wanted to get it over and done with. But I'm more convinced it was more because, let's bring back Issac and shoehorn him in everything. Because again, that was a great setup at the end of the last movie. People were hyped for that. Nothing at all. And again, there were some good moments where it felt like it was the end of humanity. But once they got to the hive, it dragged. You know what I mean? It's like, it felt great when they took down one army of undead, but then after that they told there was two more coming saying we gotta go in. And even Claire felt wasted, didn't she? And we don't know what happened to Chris or Kmart or anyone else. It was just like, hey Claire, let's not mention, hey, how's your brother? What brother? Okay, let's just move on. But they don't say that, but that's how it came off as. So 5 out of 10, I'm almost still leaning to 4.5.
Yeah, something like that.
4.5 or 5. It was worse than 2. 2 had some salvaging points. It also didn't have being the climax, the end of everything on its head. And at least it played off of what the prior movie gave it, at least. This did not. We're going to talk more about this in our retrospective, but until then, we'll see you on that video.